Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host,
Grandma Gail.
So I think you guys are really going to like this week's episode. I love Ellie Zeiler, and her mom, Sarah.
They are two fabulously beautiful, nice people.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
And she's 17, so I think she's our youngest guest we've had on. Although talking to her, I feel like
she's very old.
Such an old soul.
Exactly. She's got an old mind.
Yeah, and she's the nicest. And it was so funny because I was scrolling through our For You page on TikTok. Do you know what that is?
No, what is that?
It's like the main Discover page where you look at videos.
Oh, okay.
And she came up and it was like, Ellie follows you. And I was like, oh, wow, she's so cute. Like, I love her videos. So I went on her page. She has a following of like 11 plus million on TikTok. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one who likes this girl. I'm really glad she likes our content. So I followed her back and have been talking to her and her mom, who are wonderful. And I'm really excited that they're going to be on our podcast, and I hope you guys enjoy the conversation. She talks all about how she got that big 11 million number.
Can't wait, Kim.
So guys, we are joined by Ellie Zeiler and her mom, Sarah. She blew up on TikTok during the pandemic. She has a following of 10.5 million on TikTok, almost 2 million on Instagram. Her mom, Sarah, has 300,000 on TikTok, and they are joined with us now today. Thanks for joining us, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. This is so fun. We're big fans of yours.
Yeah, I love your TikToks.
Oh, thank you so
You
much.
do?
Grandma Gail still doesn't really know what's going on with TikTok, but we're getting used to it.
I'm sort of getting the feel, and I see how beautiful you are on TikTok. So we can't go there, but we're having fun doing it. It is fun.
Mm-hmm.
It
Where
is.
did you guys see us on your For You page?
Yeah, on my For You page, and then I followed you guys.
Don't follow it too closely.
You guys,
That's
that's
the
great.
same with me. Same with me.
My makeup tips are not applicable for you.
Yeah, we have to believe you
I
coming from
even look
makeup.
terrible on the makeup. I couldn't take it.
So let's start with your ages, relationship status, and where you're both from.
I'm 17. I have a boyfriend, and what was the last question?
Where you're from.
And I'm from San Diego or California.
I am 48, married 21 years in March, and I'm originally from Chicago, but I've lived in San Diego for 21 years and lived in New York in between.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Ellie, in doing research, I found out like we have, not in a stalkerish way, we just have so much in common. Like we're both Pisces, which is more than you think. Like, I
Really?
feel like we relate on a lot there. We both are into therapy, kind of introverted at some times and like more comfortable around family. And both interested in like the media entertainment world. So
And we kind of look alike. We have like the brown hair going for us.
that's a compliment to me. Thank you.
Me
Oh,
too.
you're
Thank
beautiful.
you.
So Ellie, start with how you first blew up on TikTok and what your first viral video was.
Okay, so I started on TikTok a couple weeks into quarantine, just out of boredom and being out of school. And so I started on TikTok and I started doing more of like how people know TikTok as in the beginning of quarantine, which was like the trending dances and all of like the trending videos that you would do with your family. And I actually started TikTok and my first video got probably like 500,000 views overnight. And then from there, I grew from there. And then around my fourth video now has like around 40 or 45 million views. And so it was very like a 0 to a million super, super fast. But then with that, through doing like the trending dance video, first of all, I'm so bad at dancing. So I was like, I need to figure out what I can do other than dancing. And I really grew up, instead of like watching TV and movies and things like that, I grew up on YouTube. And so I would like binge watch girls doing their makeup tutorials or like cooking videos. And so I decided to kind of take that whole idea and then put it on TikTok. And so that's how I just continued doing it.
Very, very creative. And your base of watchers are basically your age. Do you have a demographic?
Yes, well, actually, we were very pleased to find out that they're actually a little bit older than me. So I think it's my top age bracket is 18 to 24, which I love because I've always been a little bit older for my age, and I've always gravitated towards older women and older people to be friends with. And so I was really surprised and happy with that.
Yeah, I think it's a test. I mean, it's interesting on TikTok because, well, things have changed so much in the last year for sure. I mean, you guys have a TikTok account and I'm sure your followers are not what we all thought the original TikTok follower was.
Yeah, we all thought they were like 11 years old.
Everyone was like, oh, so what do you have, a bunch of 9-year-olds that follow you? Well, actually, no, now it's tricky because like little kids will use their parents' information to sign up with an account, but across all of her platforms, even, she's almost 18, but when she started, she was newly 16. Her followers were all like in that 18 to 24, and then they're like 13 to 18. And so it's been an interesting it's just an interesting observation, like who's drawn to Ellie. And even when we're in public, sometimes we'll have there'll be like women, like girls that are like in their late 20s that'll come up and they're like, I know I shouldn't even be on TikTok, but I'm such a big fan of yours and I love your style and I like go to you for outfit ideas. So that's so validating and so cool for Ellie.
That's actually an interesting point because I feel like a lot of I'm 25 and like a lot of my friends, if they have a TikTok account, like it's user XYZ, whatever. They never have posted anything. It's really just to watch and follow other people. But Ellie, do you find that like most of your peers or like other people in high school, most of them actually post on TikTok, right? And like, do they try to get big followings?
Yeah, that was like the very interesting thing where it was like, oh my gosh, that's so random that it would happen to me. Like I was the one in quarantine from my high school that like blew up. But like I was in high school and I obviously knew about TikTok because so many girls and even guys posted on it and like would try to get famous on it and all these different things. So I feel like it was a very normalized platform, I think, for me. And then throughout quarantine, it's just been more and more like now it's like a core app that people have.
Yeah, it was really, really foreign to me. And that's why like going into quarantine, I have 3 kids. I have twin boys that are a year younger than Ellie. And when TikTok started, I was hearing about it here and there. And I was like, well, what is it? And I think like you guys might have shown it to me. And I was like, oh, not another like app for you to add to consume other people's stuff. And like, you're already on YouTube and Snapchat and Instagram. Like you don't have time to watch people do anything more than you already do. And so I put screen time on all my kids' phones. I have screen time on my own phone too, just to like remind me how long I've been on social media and like wasting time. And so my kids just didn't have TikTok access on their phone because I was like, oh my gosh, who knows? I connected it with Musical.ly, which the kids had when they were younger. And I thought that was super fun. But in any case, I like limited the TikTok use. And of course they figured out how to hack the password. Like I'm not that savvy. I just made it a big deal. And so my son Will figured out how to hack the password, and this was into quarantine. And then they were like, Mom, we're using TikTok. And I was like, yeah, of course, like we have nothing else going on. And it just went from there.
Right. So Sarah, at one point, was it like, you were like, okay, you guys are allowed to spend X amount of time on the app, or did you ever kind of try to control what they could post?
No, I don't think I've ever tried to control it, they don't have screen time anymore.
Definitely rules. Like when I first got Instagram, it was like, no, it was like random rules too. It was like no kissy face or
no duck lips.
Yeah, no duck lips. No posting here, no posting when you're on vacation, things like that. And then I feel like those morals like carried into TikTok. And then I feel like throughout time and through getting older, we've like kind of sacrificed little things.
Yeah.
Where we're like, okay, like we'll do it.
I definitely had a few rules. Like Ellie got on Instagram in 5th or 6th grade and the account was on my phone. And I was like, no duck lips. Like you're a little girl. Why are you making kissy faces?
Why is that bad? I feel like I take that in every picture.
No, I think that like because she was like 10, and I just think that it's like, to me, it's funny because I don't consider myself a conservative person, but I'm very conservative and old school and like, no bikinis, no posing sexually. And to me, like, right? Like kissy face, like for a little girl to be making like duck lips, that's to me seems sexual. And so I just know how many weirdos there are out there. And I was like, don't like try to evoke anything. And even the boys that follow, I just thought it was like, ugh.
Right.
And so I was pretty strict. Honestly, I don't even think I let her like show, everyone wears crop tops. It took me so much to get over the crop top and showing abs. And one of my girlfriends was like, let her show her abs while she's got them. Like, just do it.
So funny, because for me it was like only Facebook kind of when I was in 5th and 6th grade, and it wasn't as much of a concern. I feel like no one really talked about it, but obviously now everyone is growing up with all of these different types of social.
Are you going to college in the fall?
Yes, I just finished actually my applications for college. I really want to, so I don't know where I'm going yet. I got into Chapman so far, and that's the only one that I know. But I want to go to USC, but I applied to NYU. Well, actually, originally my whole life, I wanted to go to NYU and leave to go to New York. Right. But with work starting and everything and being in LA, I feel like somewhere in LA, like USC, UCLA, something like that would be really good. And then I, at some point in my life, want to live in New York, but I think when I'm more like 25.
Exactly.
26.
It's a wonderful city for young people.
I grew up there and I'm still there now. It's like the most.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that where you live? That's awesome.
That's where I live normally. I'm just visiting Florida.
So whenever you guys film these, are you guys together, or do you like both
together.
Zoom in?
We're always together.
We're always together.
She lives in New York also, but goes back.
Oh.
Yeah.
We do them together wherever we're living at that moment in time.
I love that. That's great.
I mean, I barely know about this, and Grandma certainly doesn't, but there definitely is a little bit of a scene in LA with like TikTokers and stuff. Have you met a lot of people in that world, or like, are you friends with anyone in that world?
I think that in the beginning of it, I was very much like wanted to know what all of these like houses were about, or like all of these TikTokers in LA. And so I would go and visit. And what I found out is that a lot of them, like us, I don't know if you're like this type of Pisces, but I really like deep conversations and like really getting to know someone. I can never just be like have a bunch of like girls in a friend group. Like I have to have like a one-on-one connection.
I'm the same.
Yeah. Anyway, a lot of them are very like insincere, or I don't know, the concept of like meeting someone and then like taking videos with them and then never talking to them again was very odd to me. And so I've just like stuck by myself. And now I really actually am proud that I did that, because I feel like a lot of people collab who are like in that world. And so all of their followers like jump between them. But I've really never collabed with anyone. So
do you have people setting up your fashion shoots and your cooking sessions, or do you do this all from, your own home or your own workspace?
I do it all from my own home and workspace. Obviously my mom really helps, helps me organize things and stuff like that. But yeah, we have all of the clothes sent here and we put it in our office and we figure it out, and like all the cooking stuff we think of and do it all ourselves.
That's what I think Kimmy and I have to start doing, a little bit of cooking.
That would be fun.
So fun. There's such like a side of TikTok that's cooking. What I always tell people is that on TikTok, you should never just do one thing, because people get bored so quickly. So like in the beginning, as I said, I was only doing like dancing videos. And I figured, okay, if I do like fashion videos, makeup videos, cooking videos, and like sports video, like working out videos, then I'll get all of those different people that are interested all to come together. So as much as you can do, you should do it.
Now, Mom, tell me, what is your take on all this?
My background is in PR and marketing. I've been a PR executive for years before this, and I've worked in a variety of businesses. A lot of them were connected to entertainment. And so when this happened for Ellie, I felt, and my husband the same. So we were sort of in a position to like at least try to understand it and figure out how to help her navigate it. And I mean, about 2 weeks into her being on TikTok, she started getting emails and phone calls from brands and also marketing companies and agents and managers and people that wanted to, get to know her and possibly work with her. And so
Is there ever a point where working together isn't so easy and maybe playing, mom and manager is like kind of conflicts?
Yeah, I mean, we're going through it right now, actually, and we've had some growing. We definitely went through it at the beginning because if you can imagine having, gosh, like almost a 30-year career in business and then having your 16-year-old fall into this incredible opportunity. I'm like going, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, you have to say this, and you have to be this, and you have to like, you treat it like my husband and I were like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And it really is for any of these people, anybody who's building a platform and they've been able to do it on TikTok in particular. I think it is the chance of a lifetime if you can do it right and you can turn it into something that not only is lucrative, but also just like it's your passion and it's something that you get to just completely do for yourself. And I said that to her early, like you have the opportunity to build a career on being you. That is so lucky.
Lucky.
I feel like in high school, sometimes the mother-daughter dynamic can, for a lot of people, be like really stressful, or like I hear that, or at least in my experience, I feel like I got closer with my mom almost after I left.
Yes.
But
That's what I always say. I'm like, girls aren't like, I don't think they're this close. Like, I just remember being in high school and like girls talking badly about their moms or things like that. And I'm like, I just have it's never been like that. But then it's also like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like,
Your
are we
mom is
too
a good
close?
mom. She gave you space. So
Yeah.
that was very
Yeah, I mean, Ellie's made it easy. And for me, I'm completely winging this. I didn't have a good mom. I didn't have a present mom. My dad raised me and he passed away when I was 20 and 22. And so I'm an only child. So I'm literally like figuring this out as I go. And Ellie's very sensitive to that. But I also just like, she's been a good, my husband's always like, she's such a good kid. She's such a good kid. She's made it very easy for us to trust her because she's trustworthy and and she likes to be with us. So we're like really grateful for that.
Sarah, how did you meet Ellie's dad?
We met in New York and a bar. That's the truth. We didn't tell our kids that for years. It's so funny. We used to say we met in like a restaurant.
We've been telling people to meet in bars for an entire year now.
Yeah, with the
I know, but it used to have such a stigma and nobody cares. Like everybody meets all over and like online and whatever. But even that used to have a stigma before it became so accepted. And so anyway, I was on a work trip. He was living in New York and we met and we were pretty much together right away. And that was 23, 24 years ago.
Super.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then since we are a dating podcast, Ellie, how much do you share with your mom when it comes to like your boyfriend or dating leading up to that?
I share literally everything. I feel like we just don't have really any boundaries where even like my phone or my mom's phone is coming off and like my boyfriend's name is popping up because we're like all in group chats with each other. We have like a group chat with like us together and then him and like all of us with him and like
In high school also, your boyfriend?
he's in high school. He is 18. He just actually got into college, which is pretty cool. But what my mom was just gonna say is that this is my first relationship. And so you could talk about that, how you did it. Like,
no, she's never like dated around. She's dated a little bit, and we were welcoming to those guys too, but not like this. He's a really super kid. And also again, it like goes back to trusting her because she has such a good track record with like, she's just a good girl. And so like, she's all in for him. And so we were like, if she's all in, we're all in. And I learned with my own, like growing up myself, that if your parents, because my dad was very strict and like he didn't really encourage like dating, and he was definitely like somebody I couldn't tell everything to, and even though he thought he was. And so I just know that if you are too uptight and too rigid, then you're just going to lose your kid. Like your kid's just not going to be home and they're not going to tell you anything. And so you have to figure it out and adapt and be cool.
Or try to be cool.
Or try as much as possible.
Try.
Yeah.
I feel like crushes in high school are the most intense crushes that you have like your entire life. Like, I don't know. I feel like because in school you see them every day and like,
Yeah, I would agree. The thing is that I'm technically not like, I don't go to the same school as Tanner. In fact, he lives in LA. And so I haven't even seen him in 2 weeks, which is actually really great for me because I think, sorry, Tanner, if you're watching this, but he knows this too. Because initially, like I feel like I build this resentment when I'm hanging out with someone too much and that they're taking away from like my personal time or my family time or my work time, school time. And so I think that it's actually great that we kind of are in like a college or like more mature, maybe this is just the kid in me talking, but I feel like it's a pretty mature relationship because we do call all the time. We don't really Snapchat, where it's not really like a high school relationship in that sense, that we like talk about every single thing and there's like no one left in the dust, which is really nice. And I think that's like the only way a relationship, at least for me, would work, because it is very nice that like I can do my work at my school and be with my family 5 days out of the week, and then on the weekends I can be free and go see him and have fun. So,
and that's the way, you know what, you're a young girl, you're beautiful. I'm sure he's a handsome guy too, and you should enjoy each other and have fun. Enjoy your high school, enjoy your college. There's plenty of time out there to be an adult. So you're doing a good job.
thank you.
It's interesting though for relationships with kids now or teenagers, especially the ones like that never ended up going back to physical school. So the dynamics just changed and
very sad.
It is.
So sad.
It's been so sad because it's really pushed a lot of kids faster to grow up. I mean, some have been stunted, I'm sure, but like other kids, for example, Ellie and even Tanner, like they're basically done with high school a semester early. They were able to take all their classes. She's got one class next semester, and you know, he's pretty much done too, already into college, he's set. So like now they're having this like young adult relationship.
But I remember the high school, I just had like one of my old high school friends come over yesterday and she was like, you like, we used to be like so boy crazy where it was like, I want to crush just to like have something and be interesting or like something like that. And now it's just not even like that. And it's kind of sad to think back and think of like all of these pure moments that I had in school and high school that I'll never get again, sadly.
Well, hopefully you'll have a prom. Hopefully you'll have a prom and a graduation.
Did you have a prom?
Kimmy's brother didn't even have that.
So, yeah, I didn't.
I mean, you know,
he goes to an online school and I go to an online school, so we're like screwed both ways.
Class of 2020 had nothing.
So no, all of the traditional stuff is gone. Like it didn't happen. There's no more. There's no more game days or stuff like that. I will say for Ellie in particular, she wasn't that crazy about that, the high school experience.
That's what I have to remind myself. Like, I'm like, there's no more football games, but like, I never went to them anyway. Yeah.
Literally hated football games.
Right.
She would try to go and she'd be like, can you pick me up? I hate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. She hated being like smushed into a crowd and everyone was yelling. And the other thing just socially is she was never like, I call it a pack girl. She didn't run with the pack. She had good friends from kind of in different areas of the school dynamic. And
but mostly I would just like go to the library during lunch, do my homework, and then leave and go be with my family, you know?
She's been an old soul since she was little. Even at her birthday parties, like we'd have 10 girls over for a birthday party, and 2 hours in, Ellie would be in her room like, oh,
we're literally the same.
Exhausted.
Actually, the same.
Kimberly, the same thing.
In high school, I went home for lunch every single, like not, I obviously I had friends. I just like didn't want to do it. Like I didn't
exactly.
Yes.
That's how I describe describe it where it's like I was invited to sit with
Right,
people, but like I didn't really want to.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
then
also I feel like that
sleepovers with girls, like by the next
Same.
day.
Oh, she
hate
hated them.
I still do. I like do not like
Maybe
sleepovers.
this is a Pisces thing.
No, I'm telling you, I think part of it
It
definitely.
really is.
Yeah.
It's also just like a girl's personality type.
Before she met this new boyfriend who we really adore, my husband and I were like, you need some experience. Not like, we weren't saying that, but we were like,
But she was
I
always
go
like
like,
10
I had this idea and I was like, it's 10, wait, what did I say? 10 to none, like 10 to no more anxiety about something. If you do something 10 times, then you'll like get over your fears. So you need to go on 10 dates, even if it's like coffee dates or ice cream or whatever, go for a walk.
I love that.
Interact with 10
I did not like that
guys.
because I'm like, why would I waste my time on these people?
She didn't even try. She was like, oh, what an awful like, that's so gross. And I don't
I
want to
also
deal with
think that
yeah.
that mindset came from moving a lot, where I was always like leaving, like we've moved and I've moved schools a lot. And so whenever I would make friends, I would leave them. And so at some point I just came up with the mindset, like the only person that's going to be there for yourself is yourself and your family and your mom. So why would I ever jeopardize that time with them if I can just go home and like be with them?
Yeah.
So.
That's fair. I see both sides.
Plus
Yeah.
girls are pretty mean. I mean,
Yeah,
kids are
girls
mean
suck,
growing
yeah.
up. It's very,
How did you handle the meanness that you found on the TikTok thing?
Like if on comments, like negative.
which
Right.
one are you asking, Ellie?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
asking Ellie because I'm curious.
Yeah.
'Cause she was a young teenager when
It
when
was
fame
rough.
really started.
Yeah, I mean, it still goes on. I think that there were a few different things that got me through it. First was I do really think that high school really got me ready to be on social media. I will 100% always compare high school and TikTok to being like the exact same thing, where there's like the people who do this and the different clicks and all these different things. And so I, again, always grew up with the mindset that's like the only person that's going to be there for you is yourself. And so why would I care about what other people think? Because I did go through a lot of mean girls and people making fun of me for who I was and things like that. But with that being said, first of all, that's way easier said than done. There were just really high highs and then there's really high lows or really low lows where it's like some days you feel like you're on top of the world and like, I don't care about the comments and I only care about what I think. And then there are other days where like, you don't feel that good about yourself and you see a comment and it's just like, oh, a punch in the gut.
It'll take you down.
Yeah. My dad has a really great mindset about it too, where he's like, don't even look at the comments. This is your world, Ellie. You're like, everyone's living like all these different things. But again, I was the first to be like, it's so much easier said than done. You don't understand. Like, I'm a teenage girl and like, I know these people who are commenting these things. And so,
But you don't.
You knew the people themselves.
No, I was
No,
gonna
well,
say she
actually,
doesn't. And
it was the difference because when with people who I didn't know who would comment, it wouldn't hurt my feelings as much as hearing from like a high school friend that like people would like send my TikToks around like a group chat or something like that. That would be like,
That is hurtful. No question.
yeah, and that's the personal part. And I think that has been the biggest hurdle for her to get over is disconnecting the people that you know that watch what you do and then focusing on all the people who you don't know that celebrate what you do. And the other thing is like, logically, it's so hard, but logically, anybody who ever says something mean to you in a comment or on social media isn't worth your time. Like, who does that? Nobody good and happy.
Easier said than done as an adult.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And then from a parent
It's also-
perspective, we went through it for a while too, where we would want to like chime in on the comments and protect her or say something, like be snarky and snap back at them. But then you're like, you're indulging it and you're a parent and you look crazy for addressing a kid on TikTok. And also like,
I think something that she told me, even when I was going through things in high school, was like, it's kind of saying the thing that's like, nobody really cares about you, but in a really great way, like nobody cares. So when you see a TikTok, like I'm not still stewing about a TikTok that I watch an hour ago. And so I know that all of these people would like see me and say something and then move on. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
kind of
Probably
like, if you
helps
just-
the algorithm for people to comment anyway. So like,
Yeah, I mean,
It
probably,
does.
yeah,
No,
it
it does.
does,
And
but-
like, that's the thing, you know, when you have a TikTok and you do something or say something and somebody decides, I'm sure it's happened to you. It happens to everybody. It's the nature of this app for some reason where people can like, it's these trolls will say something and it's really just to stir it up. And I think it's so mindless most of the time.
Yeah,
And
it's just not that deep.
it's testing and they're just playing around. But if it gets things stirred up in your comments, that's just better for you. And even somebody, no, I mean, it's better for views. It's not like it
as long
doesn't
as
feel
everything like
good.
ends up kind of positive in the end, like you don't want people like fighting on your posts and stuff. Obviously.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And that's something that really bothers me that I get upset about seeing is that if you post a TikTok and it's just such a wholesome, like pure, happy piece of content, and then somebody starts up in the comments, well, it doesn't just affect you if you read them as the creator, but everybody else who went and experienced joy just had to look at some negative exchange and it hurts them too. It's such a bummer that people do that, but it's just the nature of the beast.
Are there any things that you think our generation does that's like a little bit toxic or something that you feel like as an old soul, like that maybe they had better during their time? Like,
yeah, I definitely think that we have just so much access to everything. And so like at my fingertips, I can look at what blah, blah, blah is doing and who they're dating and what they're doing tomorrow and all these different things. And so I do think that it was much simpler time to just be able to know who you know and live in your own life instead of be so consumed, because even it like I could search someone up and I could just go like scroll for hours and then like what am I doing, wasting my own time on someone who doesn't even know who I am. And so it is definitely more of like a getting to just be like really focus on yourself more. I envy that.
yeah, that's a great answer. I just wanted to do one last question about your nonprofit Together as One. If you could tell our listeners about that, because I think it's great.
Yeah, I started Together as One in high school after there was a shooting at my synagogue, which was a really terrible act of hate in our community. And I started Together as One because nobody really knew what to do in high schools. And I was always really made fun of for being Jewish. And so I thought might as well kind of create this like kindness club where people could come together and talk about their culture, their sexuality, or where they come from. And so I really believe that like the only way to stop hate is to educate each other on where we come from and what we believe in. And so that's really how Together as One started. And it grew in high school and it kept growing. And then COVID hit and it was like at a standstill because no one's gonna like get on Zoom with the club from school. And so now I'm really actually excited to go to college because I'm going to learn a lot about social justice and things like that that are really going on in the world. So I'm excited to kind of bring Together as One's values and morals to my own platforms after really educating myself from like a very legitimate source, which is ultimately college.
So
Go to
funny
law
that
school. Go. We need more people like you.
I know, but if only law school wasn't like, 10
Yeah, I
years
think
to-
it was really surprising in high school how much prejudice and discriminate, just like how I wouldn't say segregated because we live in Southern California, so that doesn't really apply, but like you get into high school and all of a sudden I think kids become more comfortable with voicing their opinions and jokes. And so Ellie
Well,
was
and
like,
I really thought because we lived in North Carolina, which is where I was really made fun of for being Jewish. And then coming back, I was like, wow, people are so open-minded. And then you get on the internet and you're like, oh my gosh, we're so like not going in the right direction, which is where I was like, okay, I'm not done. I need to
Yeah.
continue doing
it was
this.
so crazy because I grew up in New York City and like everyone I pretty much knew was Jewish and I never had to experience that. It's just so different. But obviously I know it's out there. And that's if I do, we're so like lucky that we don't get that much negative comments on TikTok. But if I do, it's usually like you're Jewish. And I'm like, cool, like
Yeah,
negative.
yeah.
I know exactly. And that was really like a shock to myself and my system, where it was like, and at this point when we moved to North Carolina, I was in 7th grade. And so this was really like a developmental time where I was like really could understand what was going on. And I was like made fun of, and it was just went back to like, nobody should be made fun of or judged off of something that they can't control. Like, not only can I not control it, but I'm proud to be Jewish. And so I'm like, the only thing that you should be judged based off of is how you treat people. And so I really kind of wanted to bring that up because, and also it was kind of like a club for teens made by teens, where my school had tried to educate people and like obviously in history class. And I'm like, it's just not the same, you know?
Peers. It's you're absolutely right. And that's a great comment. And I hope you do continue it in college. And so many of the schools need to have clubs like that. So all people of all different faiths and colors and
Right.
whatever sexes and have a place to feel comfortable. It's very important in today's society, especially since the media is all over the place and every single thing you're doing. You know, when I was growing up, you didn't see anybody. You saw your own little class, your own school, your own little community. And the world revolved around that. Now the world is your community. So
exactly. Yeah. And that's how I kind of pitched the club to my principal. I was like, there's Chinese club for people who know Chinese, and like there's Spanish club for people who know Spanish, and ballet for people who know ballet, but like there's no club for people to just learn about each other. And I do think that that's a very special thing with social media, is that you can really open your mind and be like, whoa, the world is huge. There are so many different people out there. But then it's kind of like taking that awareness and then making your own good mindset about it, instead of kind of like a closed mindset towards it.
Sarah, Ellie, thank you so much. So inspirational. I feel like we hit so many great topics. Tell our listeners where they can find both of you.
You can find me on all platforms. My name is Ellie Zeiler, and then
I'm Sarah Zeiler, and
we kept it straight, just our names.
Just our names. I know we're wrapping it up, but I really started getting active. I started doing making TikToks like in the deep quarantine months as well. But it's always sort of with the goal to just understand it and keep staying in touch with it and like understanding how it feels, because there are times when I think there's a lot of pressure to make effective and successful content, and you're trying to figure out what to create and what to say.
It was so special when I posted on YouTube, and I was having kind of a tough time with it because it's very like letting people into your really real personal life. I like told my mom that, and my mom got a camera and she tried doing it, and then she's like, oh my gosh, this is hard.
Yeah. It's all very hard. I just give you guys so much credit for sticking with it and for staying creative and just like doing what you do. It's very difficult to do it, I think. And whenever people make comments like, what do you like, why are you famous, or what do you do, and it's like, or you're just an influencer, what do you do, and it's like, well, if you think it's so easy, you should try it.
Yeah.
Also, what we're trying to do also is to really breach the age gaps. We're trying to
love it.
People that we can talk to each other, we can learn from each other, which is really
definitely. Yeah. And if you're closed-minded to it, like I maybe sounded like I was closed off to it. I wasn't. I just thought I didn't really like know what it was going to become. But once Ellie blew up on this platform and we were like watching it, I was like, I have to learn, I have to figure, like, I have to understand this.
Yeah. And
more in a way of just relating and empathizing at times, but just so I could understand what it takes. And it takes a lot. So I have so much respect for creators and influencers. I used to think like, oh, they just take pictures and they post, and that's so easy. It is so difficult. It's so brave and courageous and vulnerable. And I think that's the hard. I think it's so hard.
And at the end of both of our cases, like, we're just trying to entertain people and put something out that's fun.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And Ellie, if you're ever in New York, let me know. We'll get drinks. Well, I know.
Not drinks.
Not drinks. Coffee. We'll get
coffee.
Yeah.
Get like some Shirley Temples.
Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode with Ellie and her mom, Sarah.
They're both inspirational from a TikTok point of view, from a social point of view, from philanthropy. They are so really open and wonderful and caring duo that I'm sure you will all be inspired by them.
Well, it's just crazy now that like you can post a video online and your life is changed.
Yes.
Like you suddenly are getting paid by huge companies to represent you. This is now your career. Like you really do a 180, and that's happened for so many TikTok creators. And I know that it's just going to keep happening more and more. That's the direction of entertainment and content creation. I mean, we're in it, so we have a little insight to that, and it's just like, it's crazy.
And what's so nice is that she does it and is so effortlessly. And yet she's doing things for her community as well. So I wish her luck when she goes off to college next year. She's definitely planning on doing that in LA. So I know she's going to be a great continued success.
When people say to you, like, what do you do on TikTok? What do you say?
Kimmy, I answer them. My granddaughter follows me around, and I tell her I do whatever she tells me to do. So I don't understand the whole thing, but I know I'm doing something.
That's very endearing, but you can own it. Be like, I'm a content creator.
All right, I'm a content creator.
Exactly.
And I'm singing happy birthday to people too. So
Oh,
you know what? Yeah, I'm all over the place.
She's talking about Cameo. If you guys haven't checked out our Cameo, if you ever want to buy somebody a gift, I think our rate is like $75 or something. Like we
raised it to 100. Don't make me cheap.
But yeah, if you like want Grandma Gail to give your friend dating advice or sing happy birthday, we make those videos for you, which is just a fun way for us to interact with you guys and engage even more. Another great episode. Hope you guys return week after week and follow us on TikTok, as we were just saying, at Excuse My Grandma. We're also on Instagram, and see you next week.